on the line we have one of the co-founders of AtlantaBlackStar.com. Now, you hear us talk about AtlantaBlackStar.com all the time in the articles, fantastic articles that they write. We have on the line Andre Moore, who's a co-founder of AtlantaBlackStar.com and a staff writer. So we want to welcome to the African History Network show, Andre Moore. Hotep, Andre, how you doing tonight?
Peace, brother Imhotep. Thank you for having me.
All right. Oh, no problem, man. Well, you know, you and I have been talking recently, and you've seen the articles over the past few months that I've been posting from AtlantaBlackStar.com, brother. So we appreciate the work, the investment. I have a little bit of an idea what type of work goes into that and type of investment, things like that. You know, these things don't just manifest themselves out of thin air. It takes a financial investment to be able to do what you all are doing. So, you know, we want to definitely thank you all for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, for those that may not be familiar with AtlantaBlackStar.com and the type of articles that you write, things like this, explain to people, you know, what is AtlantaBlackStar.com and what caused you all to create this?
Yes, thank you. Atlanta Black Star happened based on a number of individuals on our team who saw that in the general media space there was a lack of a strong voice on a major level that was speaking for black people and delivering the kind of stories and narratives that would empower black people to change their condition and improve themselves in the world. And so we came together as a team to try to put together a property that whose mission was to tell these stories that we believe would empower our people.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how long has Atlanta Black Star been in existence?
Atlanta Black Star has been in existence for over a year and a half, about a year and a half.
Okay.
About 7 months ago, 8 months ago now, we relaunched it to better express that voice that we were trying to do. At first, we were, we've always had the idea that we were going to have these imperative narratives, but we rearranged how we would present it to the people, and about 8 months ago in our relaunch. And so we've been going pretty strong for the past 8 months.
Okay, good. Now, how can, if people have topics or stories that they want you to cover, that things going on in Detroit, things going on in New York City, and they say, hey, Atlanta Black Star should talk about this. We can't get anybody to cover this story. Is there a way for people to submit topics of stories to you and subject matter, things like that?
Yes, certainly. At our email address, info@atlantablackstar.com, that email is read very frequently, and it's one of the primary ways that we engage with our audience in terms of their comments and their feedback on what they think of Atlanta Black Star. Besides the comments underneath the articles, direct way to reach us and to express your feelings or give us a tip on a story would be at info@atlantablackstar.com.
Okay, info@atlantablackstar.com. All right, excellent.
Yes. And we look forward to those kinds of stories for people to share with us things that are happening in their local neighborhood that is relevant, that should be highlighted and is relevant to our people in general.
Okay, great. And the readers definitely have to be able to interact with those who are writing the articles to be able to ask questions for further clarification, further information. And if there's a typo or something like that, they need to be able to email them to say, hey, you want to correct this or something like that. I think that's very important, that type of interaction.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. How can people follow Atlanta Black Star on social media?
Yes, we're at ATL Black Star on Twitter, ATL Black Star, and on Facebook, they could find us at ATL Black STR.
Okay, ATL Black STR, and you said that's on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and I follow you all on Facebook also. You and I are Facebook friends, but I follow you. I follow the fan page on Facebook as well. Okay, so that's
I'm sorry about
very,
that.
very
ATL. That's also ATL Black Star on Facebook too. I'm sorry about that.
ATL Black Star. Okay, on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, you wrote an article April 28th, 8 Racist Insights Decoded from the Comments of LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling. All right, so tell us about this article here and what's significant about it.
Okay. For the Donald Sterling article, we thought it was very important for our people to be able to extract from that recording messages that went beyond what the talking points were on mainstream media, and to understand what that meant to them in the world globally, aside from that there was an individual who did not like black people.
To go beyond
that. Right.
Okay.
And what were the implications of his statements in terms of how this culture that he spoke about was being manifested on a regular basis in the world that we live today.
Okay. And this is something that mainstream media really doesn't want to deal with for the most part. They don't want to deal with how European white supremacy manifests itself in those 9 areas of social activity that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talks about: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. They really don't want to deal with that. So you have even Fox News castigating Donald Sterling, and because they don't want to have a conversation on a deeper level dealing with bigger issues, so it's easy just to write this guy off as some nut or something like that. So okay, excellent.
Right.
So
So
go ahead.
Yes, and that what we have to understand is that the conditions that we face, we have to understand it on a sophisticated level in terms of it being a system, and our responses and how we seek to address the issue is determined on how we view it, and that's why we wrote this article so that we could provide more insight into how you view it, and then what does it mean to you as an individual, and what does it mean to us as a people.
Okay, excellent. Now, so go ahead and take us through here. You start on the front page of the article. You have the picture that really started everything with Magic Johnson and V. Stiviano. Some people call her a jump off. I call her a mistress because you don't buy a jump off 2 Bentleys and a Ferrari. I mean, I'm not an expert on jump offs, but I just don't think you do that. So
Right.
So take us through. You have 8 insights here. Take us through the 8 insights that you laid out.
Okay, one was this concept of value, and a lot of people don't understand that part of what white supremacy does is it devalues other people of color, and primarily black people. And in the world that we stand today, our people have to realize that we are devalued from the jump, and that's the system that we exist in. And so, the first one we had is that, Sterling talked about his girlfriend associating with black people, primarily Magic Johnson, taking pictures of him. And even though she's black and Mexican, he perceives her as he says, a Latina or a white girl. And he's pretty much asking her why would she devalue herself as a white girl by associating with black people.
Exactly.
Right. And that was the first point we were...
Right. But is devalued if she is seen with a black man, even if that black man is a multimillionaire businessman like Magic Johnson. So he's saying, kind of going back to the joke that Malcolm X would tell. Whether you call a black man with a PhD or an MD, a medical degree, something like that, an N-word. Okay, so this is basically what he's saying here. Regardless of who he is or how much money he has, he's still not good enough to be seen in public with this woman who is black and Mexican. Right. Because of the perception. This is what he's saying. Yeah. Right. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, and right. So it's important to know that in that system, a lot of times we think, and here's what's important about a story that we tell ourselves when, as we exist under the system, is that if we work hard, make enough money, that somehow we would create a better situation for us under there. But what Sterling was reflecting about this system was that, money doesn't solve that problem either in terms of the devaluation of you as a black person.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so now if you're just tuning in, you listen to the African History Network show. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We are speaking with one of the co-founders of AtlantaBlackStar.com and staff writer for AtlantaBlackStar.com, Andre Moore. We're talking about a very insightful article he wrote April 28th, posted on AtlantaBlackStar.com, entitled 8 Racist Insights Decoded from the Comments of L.A. Clippers owner Donald Sterling. Now, everybody's familiar with the comments, and he's banned for life from the NBA. He's 80 years old, so a lifetime ban could be 6 months, a year, 2 years, so I'm not sure what that really means. But let's see, back to the article. Let's go to the next one here. Sterling's speech seems disturbingly close to what many in the black community would consider a slave master mentality. Tell us about this point here that you're talking about.
Right, and I believe that this is probably the most obvious one, and that is, this has been talked about and written about, and primarily what we pointed out here is that, the same concept that he has himself perceived that he was entitled to benefit financially off the labor of, the basketball players, and that from his perception of that transaction, he was feeding them, and giving them clothes and cars and houses. And he says, who else gives it to them? And I think it speaks for itself on what that means.
Right. It's like a slave mentality, yeah. Yeah, you actually
Right.
say it is as if to him the NBA players are not employees of the teams they play for.
Right.
They are more like slaves on a plantation.
Right. Right.
Right, right.
And so,
Hmm.
and and you know, that concept of what is an employee and what separates you from that, you know, in the mind of a
Okay.
person who has a mentality like that, and you're working for a person like that, you know, what
Mm.
is an employee to them?
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Now, what has been the response so far to this article?
People really like this article so far, and and I, I would say that you know, they talk about the analysis of it. On
Okay.
here, we have about nine. It's, you know, we put it up on the 28th. It has about 98 comments already.
Mm.
And uh, and of course, you know, it's pretty colorful engagement on there when it comes to race. And
Right.
you know, so yes,
Okay. Okay.
it's a pretty strong article for us currently, as you know, the topic is in
Okay.
general in the media. Hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the next point you make, point number 3, you said the sports tycoon also demonstrates that even a white person who is regularly seen interacting in a friendly and personable way with blacks, and one who professes to, quote, love the black people, end quote, could still be a racist. Now, the picture that you show above this is him holding and laughing with, I guess this is one of his players on the L.A. Clippers team, okay?
Right.
Explain that to us, because you often hear people say, well, I'm not racist, I have black friends, I have a black maid, or what have you. So explain this to us. Explain this point number 3 to us.
Yes, this goes back to the story that we tell ourselves as a people on what we're actually fighting for, and what
Mm-hmm.
we're actually what the solutions. This, you know, how do we actually address this problem that we are having in the world today? And when you look at a lot of the solutions that have presented itself so far from various sources within the black community, you'll realize that there seems to be a strong desire that if we can get people to like us, that conditions will improve. And
Mm.
what we were trying to show here is that on the surface, when someone likes you, and in terms of white supremacy, that really has no, that's really an irrelevant concept. And even if you
Right.
listen to what, you know, what he was saying, he says explicitly there that he loves black folks,
Mm.
right? But
Okay, you have a
he
quote
was
here. You
speaking.
say,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the quote here. Oh, you say, okay, I got your quote exactly here that you have. You say, well, believe it, Sterling is saying, this is a part of his conversation with V. Stiviano that was leaked to TMZ, the telephone conversation. It says, well, believe it and stop talking about it. You're not making any good points. You can't believe this man. That's all I am. I'm not a good person in your eyes. If I was a good person, you wouldn't say, I can't believe this, I can't believe that, which are all lies. I love black people. Okay, this is him. So this is him saying, I love black people.
Right.
Okay, okay, go
And
ahead.
and you know, it's um you know, it's, you
Yeah, he
know,
goes on to
people
say, I
can
love
judge.
everybody.
Yeah, people can judge how, you know, how genuine he is about that. But
Hmm.
nevertheless, he has to rub shoulders with black people all the time. And you see, he shakes
Right.
hands and and you know, can smile and laugh, but it doesn't change how he behaves under the white supremacist system.
Right, right. Well, if he loves black people, I hate to see how he act if he hated them. I'm just saying, if this is what he said, and he loves
Right.
them, oh my God. Okay. If you have a question or comment, give us a call, 914-338-1375, 914-338-1375. Press the number 1 key to put you in queue so it can bring you on the air. When you call in, you want to listen to the phone, not to the computer, okay? Turn down the computer in the background. Try to write down your questions so we can get through them expeditiously, all right? And we want to try to get in as many as we can. We have Andre for a few more minutes left in this segment here. In our third hour, we're going to talk about boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter. Last week we talked about him, his death April 20th of prostate cancer. We all learned about Reuben Hurricane Carter in the 1999 movie starring Denzel Washington, Hurricane. But we're going to talk about him and his legacy. I have a very interesting interview to play for you also with him that talks about his incarceration and his work trying to get people who were wrongly convicted of crimes free. So it's very interesting coming up in the third hour. We're also going to play a clip of the lecture that Dr. Leonard Jeffries did in Detroit March 23rd with myself, Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance, an analysis and plan for the next 50 years, so you don't want to miss that. Okay, let's go to the next point here you have. You say Sterling lets the world know in no unclear terms race still matters. And then you show a picture above this caption here. You show a picture of George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. So tell us what this is about.
Yes. And I believe that above and beyond what happened with Donald Sterling, there's a bigger story here, and that is, he spoke specifically about culture, and he talked about how big this culture was, and that it was so big and so powerful that he did not want to change it. He didn't want to take on that fight, and yes, and I think that that was enlightening for people who might question whether race still matters and why are properties like Atlanta Black Star and individuals still talking about race, and we're supposed to be in a post-racial world. And I think it was clear the George Zimmerman case and with Trayvon Martin how race played out in that situation. And why it's so important. And if you listen to the sister Stiviano, when she was talking about race, she took on a narrative that is very common within our community. And the dominant story that is being told in mainstream media today is that race does not matter. And that, to talk about it is malicious, and to also to highlight some of the injustices that occur on along racial lines is malicious. And she told that narrative in saying that what does race matter to me? And I think that he was informing her that, it does matter. And he knows that. And he has been rewarded for paying attention to that.
Okay.
And this is what he was saying, right? He was saying that, he lives in a world and he understands what are the consequences, where the value lies, and he was going to acknowledge that. He was going to live in a world where he acknowledged that, and if she, she could believe whatever she wanted to believe.
Right. Okay, excellent. And then next you talk about Sterling implies that the Jewish Holocaust should not be compared with racism against black people, and that excluding blacks is not about racism at all. Okay, tell us about that. That's very weird. Now, above that caption, you have a famous picture of, looks like at least 2 African-American men being lynched in a crowd of white men standing around looking. Okay, tell us about this.
Okay, yeah.
Are
So
you getting
this
any
was just
feedback
a
on your end? Do you have a computer on or something in the background?
Yes, I do.
Okay, turn that down because I'm getting feedback.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Go ahead.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
A second.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so here we're just, and give me a sec, I'm going to close down something that I think could be given the feedback.
Oh, no, well, I don't hear it now. I think you had the speakers. Yeah,
Okay.
when you had the volume up or something. I think that's what that was. Well, go ahead.
Okay. Here, and this just shows that he was just reflecting the story that he's been told, and that was, and something that he's picked up, and that was that, his specific experience in the world and the history of his people, there was something special about that, and that, nothing else in the world could compare to that. And,
and he is a Jewish man. He is a Jewish man also.
Right, right. And in his mind, it appears that, the black experience, or for black people, they were so devalued that their plight and their experience in the world could not compare to his. And that's basically what that was highlighting.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a couple more here. Okay, this is important here, I think. The next one, Sterling provides evidence that people involved in interracial relationships can still be very racist. Racist, bigots, things like this. It's very interesting that this is taking place, and then you also have Scandal on TV, which is one of the most popular TV shows, and here you have an African-American woman who is a mistress to a white president and sleeping with another white man, from my understanding, as well. Very, very interesting. But tell us about this quickly, and then we're going to shift gears and go to the other article, another article that you wrote last year dealing with 5 ways society prevents the development of black boys into men. But go ahead with this point here.
Okay. Yes. This, was another attempt to show how white supremacy operates as a system, and that when you have a system, it's not a matter of individual preference or individual ideology that changes the system or changes the way that a person interacts within that system. And when two people come together from opposite races, or different races, I should say, they're still subjected to the powers of that system and to the design of that system. And, and in many of those cases, people have not raised themselves above some of the ideology within there. And so, despite the fact that he had these strong feelings against black people, he found it rather convenient to still have a romantic relationship with someone that, could be considered black or, of African descent.
Right, right. She's black and Mexican, African American and Mexican.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of time interracial relationships are as positive as one of the cures for what some people call racism or white supremacy. And I think that this was a clear evidence on why it doesn't. It's not necessarily
Well, another
a
problem
choice.
is that people confuse. Another problem is people confuse racial harmony with racism. And
Right.
racial harmony and racism are two different things. Racism comes out of European white supremacy and deals with a power structure where one race controls the majority of the wealth, power, and resources. They use it to marginalize, subordinate, and do harm to another race of people. So we find it emanating itself throughout those 9 social activities that Dr. Wilson and Nelly Fuller talk about. Economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Okay, so you can't escape from this, and you see it throughout history when you look at the laws and public policies that were passed by a Senate, a Congress, City Council, State Senate, State House Representatives, things like this, dominated by Europeans. Okay, but if you don't understand history, you don't understand this, and you have this can't we all just get along mentality. All right, but you don't understand the origins of European white supremacy and racism and what this emanates from and how this spreads throughout history. So this is extremely important here. Okay. I think we have a couple calls here. Once again, the calling number is area code 914-338-1375, 914-338-1375. If you have a question or comment, give us a call quickly. We're speaking with Andre Moore, co-founder, one of the co-founders and staff writer for AtlantaBlackStar.com. We're talking about his article, 8 Racist Insights Decoded, from the comments of L.A. Clippers owner Donald Sterling. Looks like we have a couple calls from the 313-588, and 313-433. We're going to you in just a minute. But I got to ask you quickly here, what do you think is going to happen with Donald Sterling? We know that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has banned him for life. Now, he's 80 years old, so life could be 6 months, a year, 2 years, I mean, let's keep it real. But also, he said he's going to do everything in his power to basically convince the other owners to vote, because they need a 3/4 vote, force him to sell this team. What do you think is going to happen with this?
I think that, I think that this kind of situation actually benefits white supremacy in the sense that, like I said before, in terms of how we view, how we address the issue. And I think, when you talk about a global system such as white supremacy and an individual getting fired, and, this has happened a number of times in the past few years where individuals have spoken up and have said racist things and they've lost their jobs for indefinitely, a year, or, a couple of days. And I believe that this is something that actually disempowers the voice of black people, in the sense that his firing or his ouster appears to be as if something was done to address the problems and conditions that we face in the world today. And I don't think that problem. Right. And I don't think that this addresses that problem in any relevant way or in a significant way at all. So I think that go ahead. Yeah, it will just be an internal quarrel between him and the same people who he kind of outed when he talked about the culture and people calling him, and this is I don't think that addresses the issue at all.
Right, and this is why a lot of the mainstream media does not really want to have this conversation dealing with these elements of the conversation, the culture of European white supremacy that breeds this type of mentality. We could talk about the culture of privilege. We can deal with the history behind this. They don't want to deal with that, so it's easy just to to write him off as some type of nut. And then I was watching Entertainment Tonight right before the show, and they were saying that he's going to file a lawsuit to stop them from trying to force him to sell the team. Now, attorney Warren Ballantyne, 2 days ago, who is an attorney and former prosecutor, said that this guy, Donald Sterling is an attorney also, first and foremost. He's an attorney. So he'll most likely file a lawsuit, because you have to keep in mind, even though his statements were repugnant and bigoted and they were wrong, these were private statements on a telephone conversation with somebody else that was leaked to the media. So I think he's going to make the argument, wait a second, I can have freedom of speech in a telephone conversation. It's not like he made these statements at a NBA game. It's not like he made these statements on a television interview regarding the NBA or something like this. Yes, he has a history of discrimination, $2.75 million discrimination settlement for not renting to quote-unquote people of color at an apartment building that he owns, things like this. Yes, he has a history of this, but he has an argument that, wait a second, this was a private conversation. Okay, so and what Warren Ballantyne was saying is that this could be drawn out in court for years. This could be a long, drawn-out case. Okay, this is not something that's going to be. And I listened to Reverend Al Sharpton a couple of days ago, who said, actually yesterday, who said that we got him out of there. This is what we wanted. We wanted to get him out of there. And one of the callers was saying, well, wait a second, he's still the owner. He's not out of there. And Reverend Al was saying that, well, they're going to vote him out. Well, first of all, we don't know that the owners are going to vote him out. This is what Silver is pushing for, the commissioner. We don't know that they're going to vote him out, and he can sue, and it could be drawn out. So this is not over with. They're just trying to see now the money grubbers have gotten into it, as some people call them. The money grubbers have gotten into it, and it's going to be taken in a different direction. But here, let's go to the phone lines quickly. Let's go to the 313-588 area code. Call in 313-588. Did you have a question or comment, or just listen to the show?
All right, I'll answer all your questions in the morning.
Call in the 313-588 area code. Do you have a question or comment, or just listen to the show?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Do you have a question, or you just listening?
Oh, hey, Mike. How you doing? I didn't know I was up. This is Frank.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Frank? You all right?
Hey, great, very good, sir, and congratulations to you as well.
Thanks.
Great conversation tonight. My question tonight is, and I'm glad that you guys finished up with Mr. Sterling could be in court for a long time. The one item I was extremely upset about was the fact that it seems to me that the players have no understanding of what the product is, and the product being them. If they take the product off the court, that is where the buck stops, so to say, in my opinion. I would like to listen to the gentleman from the Atlanta Black Star with a response.
Let me ask the question. When you say the players, are you referring to the entire NBA, or are you referring to the LA Clippers players?
No, the players of the NBA. We know that the NBA is comprised of probably about 85 to 90% African Americans. With that,
right.
Each one of those individuals are being slighted, regardless of the fact. My thing is there should be full work stoppage for the playoffs, because there's only 12 teams, 16 teams involved, and this is the big money. This is the big money run. This is where you show the people, who's really in control, because it's not like the owners are going to get out there and start shooting basketball.
Okay. Go ahead and respond to that, Andre. All right, thanks for calling in, Frank. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I think that a boycott would have put tremendous pressure on them to do something and how they solve the problem. But I think that, as I said before, what would that have done overall to improve the situation and conditions of black people in the world? That is my concern about it. I think that it would have been a showing of strength, and it would have put tremendous pressure or financial pressure on the league. However, the system would have found a way to resolve that eventually.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also,
I don't know if that resolution. I don't know if that resolution would improve our conditions and situation the way that it is today.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, the various sources have talked about how if Sterling was not banned, if he did not get a heavy fine, things like this, the LA Clippers players were ready to boycott. Some other players were ready to boycott also, not play. They were ready to not play as well. So very interesting to see what's going to develop from this. Let's go to the other call here in the 313. Calling the 313-433. Do you have a question or comment or just listening?
No, you know, I have a question and a comment. I mean, I believe the black players in the NBA definitely dropped the ball. Key James. Sorry about that. Key James.
Key James. Okay, go ahead, brother. What was your question?
Yeah.
Or comment?
You know what? This whole situation, and of course I've heard you, Imhotep and Booker T and everybody put the flaws out there of black leadership. You know, this exposed the NAACP. This exposed Al Sharpton. You know, it was upsetting. You know, and I looked at the talking heads, and you had Stephen A. Smith on ESPN First Take say, "Well, these players have a contract. They need to honor the contract. They're not playing for Sterling. They're playing for themselves." You know, that was a bunch of bullwash, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a Negro mentality. Negro mentality.
Exactly. You know, they had the players missed an opportunity here and really dropped the ball. You know, it should have been an automatic work stoppage throughout the league.
Right, exactly.
And you know, their push should have been for not minority ownership, but for black leadership. But like, you know, you and your guest said, I'm not even exactly sure if they can force this man out. And here we are claiming a victory. There's no victory.
Well, they want to claim a victory because, and Warren Ballantyne talked about this, man, because I listened to his show. This is to the Warren Ballantyne show, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday on Empowerment Radio Network. I'll have my show on Empowerment Radio Network very soon. Only about $755 away from reaching our goal, raising the funds, because I got to buy equipment. I got to buy. I just made a call yesterday and talked to the salesperson for the equipment I have to purchase. So I'm the first piece of equipment I'll be buying in the next few, probably early next week. I'm trying to figure this out because it's like $1,350 with yeah. But he talked about Warren talked about how your Negro leadership coming in, they're going to get a cut out the deal. This is what's going to happen. This is why they need to stay out of it. Somebody's going to get appointed to a board. Somebody's niece or daughter or son or what have you is going to get appointed to a board. Somebody's going to get a distributorship here. They're going to get a cut of the deal. All right, and they're already trying to claim a victory when really there's no victory yet. He's banned for life. And also, this is what we have to understand. If they force him to sell, okay, he bought the team for $12 million, $12.5 million back in the early 1970s. It's worth $575 million today. So if he sells the team, he gets a big payday. Whoopee, you showed him. I mean, come on, what are you talking about?
What? Now, you know, let me say this though, and I understand that, and I think that within itself, you could, with the players not playing, you could have lowered the value, but I think that was just going to be a loss leader anyway. He was going to, like you said, he bought it for $12 million. The team was worth, what, $800, $900 million, who knows? So I think that was a loss leader.
Now, according to Fortune magazine, it's valued at $575 million. But here's the thing: with so many people saying they want to own it, Oprah Winfrey, David Geffen,
You can jack up the price.
Rick Ross. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what's
you can
going to
jack
happen.
up the price.
Yeah.
You can jack up the price. The only way you can get the price down is if you're a commodity. You have no commodity. And obviously the players and my God, the ridiculous things that are coming out of Doc Rivers' mouth about his wife, my goodness. Pick up a newspaper or something.
Right. Okay. Let's get a response from Andre. Go ahead with your question so we can get a response from Andre.
Oh, no, that was basically it. I guess it was more of a comment than a question, but, I do feel that, the strike, if they work stoppage would have made a difference as far as what people could see, as far as in the black community.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, brother.
Okay,
It was a good conversation.
Okay, thanks for calling in, brother. Okay, peace. Keep listening. All right. Andre, you want to respond to the comment?
Yeah, I understand the sentiment that a work stoppage would have sent a stronger message. But the point that I'm really coming from is that I think that there's a bigger picture here in terms of a culture and a system of white supremacy and how is that addressed. And I think that we need to get beyond reacting to these individual events that occur in which, some group or some person, some individual shows that they don't like black people. I believe that we will not resolve that. There's millions of people on the planet, and if we are to, get riled up for everyone who says that they don't like black people, we'll be wasting considerable amount of energy on something that's irrelevant to what we need to do to improve our situation on the planet.
Right, and what you're doing is you are addressing racial harmony as opposed to the root of European white supremacy and racism and the culture that breeds racism and bigotry, things like this. Right. You aren't dealing with that. You're dealing with the superficial issues, the superfluous issues, racial harmony, things of this nature.
Right.
Okay. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. The other article that you have we posted this yesterday, I think it was, on the African History Network fan page on Facebook. 5 ways society prevents the development of black boys into men. Now, it's very interesting you wrote this because we're supposed to have equality. This is supposed to be a post-racial America, things like this. When we hear cases of police brutality against African Americans, we're just hallucinating and jumping to conclusions. I do believe in getting all the facts before we jump out and start protesting and marching, things like this. But tell us about this article and what's significant about it. 5 ways society prevents the development of black boys into men.
Right, and this article is important primarily for what I spoke about earlier in terms of empowering narratives. And I think, I would like to take this opportunity to tell your readers to, take a look at the Atlanta Black Star Manifesto. And what occurs is that, this was another reaction that we had to individual events that occur that show, remind us time and again that, race matters, and in the current system, black people are devalued. However, there was a bigger issue here, and that is how do we address these situations so that they don't happen again, and how do we respond? And what was happening at that time in the media was that there were a number of high-profile individuals who came out and expressed how they engage with their young boys and informed them how to respond to this unfair system, in which that, someone can devalue them as a human being and take their life based on the concept of a perception of, their criminality, and this is based on their skin color. And I think that what a lot of them used were very disempowering narratives. And the concern in that is, are we as a people raising young black boys to take weak position, to have weak responses to the injustices of the world, or are we teaching them to emulate some of the values and the behaviors of our leaders who were able to help affect some of the changes that we, enjoy today? And basically we went through some of these arguments and points that people pointed out that they say to their sons, and we contrast that with arguments and responses that some of our leaders had when they were fighting against injustice and fighting for the freedom of black people.
Okay. One of the points that you give us here is being black is your burden. Okay, and you talk about how in the 2012 Time magazine article entitled "How to Talk to Young Black Boys About Trayvon Martin: 8 Talking Points About the Potentially Fatal Condition of Being Black," and you go on to talk about, to quote the MSNBC commentator Teray, who was talking about this. So tell us about this point here, being black is your burden.
Right. And I think that is what we would call a disempowering narrative, and that when you're being told that the way that God made you or the way that you were created is inherently negative, then I think that you are disempowering. That is a disempowering view. And as I pointed out in there from the comments from Martin Luther King and Marcus Garvey, these were our leaders expressing to us that we have nothing to apologize about for being black, and we don't have to accept conditions in which we have to take on the cost of other people who have issues with our dark skin. And that's primarily what I point out here. Yes. And you know, as I said before, we contrast what people were saying at the time in response to the George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin situation with what leaders were saying at the time when they were fighting for civil rights and for the freedom of black people.
Absolutely, absolutely. You quote Dr. King, and this is a passage from Dr. King that Warren Ballantyne plays on his show every day. But somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Well, I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, "Yes, I'm black. I'm proud of it. I'm black and beautiful." Okay. Let's get another point in here. We have a couple minutes left in this segment here. Another point that's made here of these 5 ways society prevents the development of black boys into men. Don't fight back. Your mission is to survive. Okay? In his Time magazine article, Teray also noted, quote, "If you encounter such a situation, you need to play it cool, keep your wits about you, don't worry about winning the situation. Your mission is to survive," end quote. Okay, so tell us about this here.
Yeah, I mean, I would simply say about that here is, you know, and a lot of people were, you know, that was the concept they were coming from, is how can I want my children to live, and what narrative could I give them so that they can live? And I would, you know, I would have responded to that person if I was speaking to them is, well, where would we be if Dr. Martin Luther King was concerned about whether he lived or not? Or where would we be if Malcolm X was concerned with whether he lived or not? And I'm not saying that our young boys should go out there and act reckless and get themselves killed, but I think that, as I said before, the values that I believe we should be instilling in our young men are values of manhood, and which involve being able to stand up to injustice and being able to fight that in a meaningful way.
Okay, interesting. Okay, excellent. Definitely agree with that. All right, so people can check this article out also on AtlantaBlackStar.com. We're posting a new article that was just posted today, May 1st, by, I'm not sure who wrote it. It was posted by Tracy. John Legend's film company to produce movie on General Alexander Dumas. Okay, and Alexander Dumas was the writer of The Three Musketeers and the Count of Monte Cristo and things like this, and he was a man of African descent as well. Okay, you don't see this in the media, but yes, he was. Okay, so That's on AtlantaBlackStar.com. Well, look, how can people get in contact with you once again, Andre? It's been great having you on. How can people follow you on Twitter, get in contact with you if they need to?
Okay, yes. The best way to get in contact with me is at Andre@AtlantaBlackStar.com. You send me an email with your comments and your questions that you have, any clarifications or corrections that you think should be made on any of the articles that I write. But that's Andre@AtlantaBlackStar.com.
All right.
Hello?
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. I dropped out for a minute. Okay. All right. Excellent. Well, look, it's been great having you on, Andre. We're going to have you back on very, very soon. A lot of good, hard-hitting articles on AtlantaBlackStar.com. So we'll be talking to you soon, okay?
Thank you very much, Brother Imhotep.
Okay, Brother Hotep. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Peace. All right, family. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We're moving to our third hour. Our third hour, we're going to talk about Reuben Hurricane Carter. We know April 20th he died of prostate cancer. And we're going to talk about, I have a very interesting interview that we're going to listen to with Reuben Hurricane Carter, and we'll talk a little bit about him as well. And then we'll also play an excerpt of the lecture that Dr. Leonard Jeffries did here in Detroit, March 23rd, Pan-Africanism and the African Renaissance, an analysis and plan for the next 50 years. It's available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It's item number 715. It's a double lecture. He and I did a lecture together. I dealt with Scandal, Easter, and Stand Your Ground, Weapons of Mass Distraction for a people who have forgotten how great they are. You can join us in the chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show, blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show, okay? And you can chat with people in the chat room. In the chat room, we have Sister Sunshine. We have Sister Adila in the chat room also. Afrocoid Scholar, a mentee of the writer, Anita TA5, Anthony Owens L., B.J. Moore, Caribbean Online Training, Cuddy Mac 2003, Derek Bailey, who else do we have in here? Jason Robinson, James Bell Jr., X, Kwame, Life 81, Next to Last Don, Nun 763, Pianki, Rob L 239, Sheba B. Just a few of the people in the chat room, so join us there, blogtalkradio.com/The African History Network Show. And if you don't have a Blog Talk account, it's free to have one. It takes about 30 seconds to set one up, and you can join us in the chat room, okay? All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. And also, if you have not signed up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T. Text the word Kemet to 22828, and you can sign up for our email newsletter because we have one going out for this weekend, probably Saturday, between Friday and Saturday sometime. I'll have some new articles in there, okay? If you want to contact me to bring me in for a lecture or a workshop or something like that in your area for your group or organization, email me at info@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, info@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, or give me a call, 313-462-0003, 313-462-0003.